OK, let's talk golf to start the programme this morning. As you know, it's been all over the media in Ireland this week. The Hollywood superstar, that is Bill Murray. He and his family are on a bus going from golf club to golf club around this country to sample the atmosphere and the conditions and the quality of our links courses. And the reason he's doing this is because it's a new golf series which is entitled The Links Life. It's a golf travel documentary and it's going to air on YouTube and other major streaming platforms in the not too distant future, highlighting some of Ireland's top golf courses. So Bill Murray, as we know, a legendary actor, most famous for his roles in Ghostbusters, Lost in Translation and Groundhog Day, to name but many, was in the west of Ireland for the last number of days, and he played both Belmullet and Enniscrone golf courses in the last number of days. But the interesting thing about this entire story, and Bill Murray is a superstar, as we know, but actually the man behind all of this has strong links with County Mayo, and he is joining us this morning. His name is Tom Coyne. Tom, thanks for joining us and good morning to you.
Tommy, thanks so much for having me on. It's great to speak with you, and it's wonderful to be here in Mayo. I'm standing outside the Mount Falcon Resort as we try to load all the Murrays on the bus. It's not the fastest moving group. They aren't, but they're fantastic to travel with. And we're having an absolute great time. I mean, one of the goals of the trips, I've been coming up here for, since I was a kid, and really, we wanted to see, we had a great time in Donegal and great time in Kildare, but a priority for me was sharing Carn and Enniscrone and the Mount Falcon, and just how special this part of the world is, sharing that with my friends, the Murray brothers.
Tell me about your Foxford and Crossmolina, relations.
How about that, right? So, my family, and I did the DNA test to prove it, Tommy. I was always told this is where we came from. And we'd come back and we'd find grave markers and we'd go and get and trips when I was younger. We'd go to the churches and search for the baptism record. Because it would have been my great-grandparents who left around the turn of the century and settled in northeastern Pennsylvania, in Scranton. Scranton is all Mayo Irish. Everyone, it seems, in that town traces their roots back to Mayo. It was a coal area, a lot of coal mining and a place where you could get work. And so it turns out my mother's side, in doing the research, comes from Crossmolina, and then my Crossmolina and Ballina, and then my father's side, Foxford and Swinford. So all in the sort of the Ballina area, and that's generally where on these trips we come back as a family. And it was funny because, I was 11, 12 years old, and we wanted to take a break from looking through graveyards for our family name. And they said, you should go down the road and play this place called Enniscrone. And at that time, no Americans had really heard of it. This was quite a long time ago, and the course was a little bit different then. But it was the first time I ever played a links golf course, and it really it sparked a love affair with links golf that's brought me back to Ireland. Geez, I can't even tell you how many times since, and it's become what I write about. I write about links golf courses all around the world, and was lucky to do a book about golf in Ireland. It became a bestseller at home, and that's how I got to know all the Murrays, and they trusted me to build a trip for them, and here we are.
Yeah, it's a terrific story, and you couldn't buy this kind of publicity because Bill Murray is a world famous actor, so he's got a lot of followers. So how did you actually get to know Bill?
It's a funny story. So my first book was actually a golf novel, no travel involved. I was a fiction writer, and I was 24 years old, and wrote this story about being a caddy because I grew up caddying in America out in Philadelphia. And the book was called A Gentleman's Game. It got published. It got made into a movie. And Brian Doyle Murray was in it, played a caddy, which was incredibly cool to me because Brian Doyle Murray, you'll know him from, he's the mayor in Groundhog Day. He's heard his voice on all sorts of cartoons. He's also the caddy master in Caddyshack and wrote Caddyshack. So that was a personal thrill to actually have him in my caddy movie. I became friends with Brian and kept in touch with him over the years. Got to know the brother Joel. Andy and Johnny had met a couple times, and then and then Bill, we played some golf together. And on one of those trips, he mentioned, hey, I'd like to, do some golf in Ireland with my brothers. I think he'd been invited to the McManus Pro-Am at Adair, which, because of COVID, hasn't been happening the last couple of years. But in any event, we put the wheels in motion to plan a trip for the family around that. And we said, well, let's do it anyway. Here we are.
Wow, that's quite incredible, and I know he's having a great time. I was just looking through your biography over the weekend, if you don't mind me saying so, Tom. I think you might have nearly lost count as to the number of golf books that you've written. I mean, you obviously eat, drink and sleep golf. There's A Gentleman's Game, your second book, Paper Tiger, An Obsessed Golfer's Quest, third book, A Course Called Ireland, A Long Walk in Search of a Country, a Pint and the Next Tee, which is great title. You've also written A Course Called Scotland. Have you written A Course Called Ireland yet?
Well, A Course Called Ireland was the third one, and then A Course Called Scotland came second.
Oh, I see.
And then A Course Called America I finally did recently. So, Ireland started the travel, The Course Called series, which was, I thought would be one book. And it was just a sort of crazy adventure where, some folks might remember seeing, they'd have a good memory, but it was 15 years ago, this tall American ginger wandering around the roads of Ireland. I walked the coast of Ireland for 4 months with golf clubs on my back and played every hole that got in my way, and lived to tell the tale, dodged the buses, survived the country dogs, and made it through, and just had a great trip, lost a lot of weight, and lost a lot of golf balls. That was 1,100 miles in 4 months, and that was that story. And then I did Scotland, where I didn't walk Scotland. I got a little, I wisened up a little bit. I played a ton over there, and then recently my Course Called America book came out at home. So it's great.
Yeah.
The Ireland book did really well. It was a bestseller at home, and then sparked the others. So it's been fun.
Are you a decent golfer, Tom?
I play off a 3. Yeah,
that's decent.
I'm a decent amateur,
Yeah.
And had a nice round at Enniscrone yesterday. I will say the wind is down right now here in the west, which is unusual and quite lovely. Actually, it makes scoring a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Touch wood, we've been getting the weather on this trip, so.
Well, it's going to get a lot better for the rest of the week. We're expecting 1 millimetre of rain for the next 6 days. So
we'll take it.
That's good
May
news.
it happen at night.
So where do you head to now? You're in Mount Falcon, and we'll talk actually in a second to Alan, but where are you going to from Mount Falcon?
From Mount Falcon, let's see, we're going down to Connemara. And then we'll make our way into Galway, and then we'll make our way back down to Ballybunion before we leave. So making the southward trajectory now, and then unfortunately have to get across the country to Dublin for flights. The Shannon is still not operating transatlantically for us.
Oh, yes. So back to Dublin.
We hope that returns.
Yeah.
So then back to Dublin.
And when can we...
it's been worth the drives and the long hauls. So.
Yeah. When can we expect to see the fruits of your labour on YouTube and some of the streaming platforms?
Yeah, so we'll start editing as soon as we get back. That'll take a little bit of time, and then we'll hopefully get it up on YouTube then, or whomever, if there are other media partners. So I've done this before with my travels, putting YouTube, 10-minute documentaries about where I'm going and meeting the people. But this one's a little bit special, so we'll see where it ends up in the end. But right. You'll know about it for sure, no doubt about it.
Listen, it's been lovely to talk to you, and thank you for giving us your time, because as you know, it's great because we're so excited about having all of you in Ireland, you included, particularly with your strong Mayo roots. Is Bill out of bed yet?
Well, no, Bill has a run. Bill is in the car park. So
he's right.
We are about to finally pull out.
Okay.
And I just want to say it's great to be here and be able to see Mayo knock off Dublin with my own eyes and be in Ireland for that. So Just excited and wish I could still be here for the final, but I'll be watching at home.
Yeah.
Up Mayo.
Up Mayo for sure. Listen, it's lovely to talk to you. Thanks a lot for talking to us this morning, Tom.
Be well, Tommy. Take care.
Bye-bye. I also have Alan from Mount Falcon with us this morning, and that, of course, is Alan Maloney. Alan, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy, and good morning to all your listeners. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, you love excitement, and when the adrenaline is flowing, you're at your best. This has been an exciting few days for you in Mount Falcon.
Yeah, we've had a ball, Tommy. We've had a ball. As I said, it's just so lovely to welcome some of our own brethren, particularly Tom. Obviously, I met Tom years ago. The connection up here, he told the story there. I heard him saying about Enniscrone, and I met him years ago. And Tom has done more for marketing the Northwest in a golf context than anybody else involved in golf. And I have always been eternally grateful to Tom, and he knows that. So it was a privilege for us to host them when they came here and spend some time with them. We've had a ball, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Played Enniscrone yesterday. I played with Tom, by the way. I heard you ask
Oh,
me.
don't worry, I was going to ask that question. That was on my list. Don't worry.
I played with Tom yesterday. He's a very modest guy, as you probably gathered. Playing off three, you want to see him hit a golf ball around Enniscrone. It was just a pleasure to watch him. Apart from being a gentleman, just to share his company, but to see him hit a golf ball the way he does, the pleasure was all mine. That's all I'll say, Tommy.
Yeah.
And we got a glorious day. The lads have had the ball, so...
Great.
Unfortunately, they're just about to board a bus and leave, but they've had a ball.
And tell me...
Everybody in this county, Tommy, right, has made them so welcome here. It's just been extraordinary from every part of this county. And I'd like to thank everybody on behalf of the region, because they've done some extraordinary job hosting this wonderful family. And what they're doing for us is really important for the region, you know.
Were there a lot of onlookers in Enniscrone yesterday?
There were a few people that were there, all right, yeah. And the guys are great. Spent all the time. There were a couple of families there with kids, all wanting to meet the crew and the gang.
Yeah.
But they were fantastic. I mean, they've been fantastic with everybody, you know.
Yeah.
You get that reciprocation, you know. When the county's been so good, you know.
We know that Bill is a great actor. What's he like as a singer? Because I understand on Saturday night he was singing with Lorraine MacDonald and with Buck Taylor and Keith.
He was. Tommy, listen, with Bill Murray, you never know what's going to happen next, right? But as you know, that's been our entertainment here in this COVID world. Put out the tent outside with the wonderful, wonderful talent of Buck Taylor, Lorraine and Keith and Greg Pearl. And impromptu, the boys got up on the stage and joined them in a couple of renditions of some songs. We had a great bit of fun, Tommy. We did.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, listen, I'm delighted that they chose Mount Falcon as one of their places to stay, because you guys put in such hard work in promoting that beautiful place. It's great now that you're going to get a little bit of publicity and hopefully lots of Yanks next year.
Please, God. Put it this way, this country, I've told them all here, we can't wait to welcome them all back, okay? Because these guys, this is only the start of it. They are coming back. And if the greeting these folks got, everybody else is going to get here, as they always will. The future looks really good in the Northwest. That's all I'm going to say to everybody.
Alan, listen, you say farewell to the crew, and thank you very much for joining us. Okay.
I will, Tommy.
Mind yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alan Maloney there, proprietor of Mount Falcon, and before that, Tom Coyne, who is an extraordinary man with lots of Mayo roots, New York Times best-selling author, and they're filming The Link's Life with Bill Murray, the Hollywood superstar, and heading out of Ballina in the next 20 minutes or so and heading to Connemara. Beautiful story, and hopefully it will yield great results.